DMA 202 script marker. Hello class. I hope you're all happy and healthy. Assignment 3, scripts. So for this assignment, I want everybody to write a script. It will be the title page with your name on it and at least the first 2 pages of your short film. First couple pages should introduce us to the character or the location. Most likely the character. I really want to know who's our main person that's going to carry us through. Also for this assignment, it has to be the correct script format. So those sound simple, but it can get a little tricky. Now, if you've done assignment 1 and assignment 2, you should already have a pretty good concept in your head. This assignment shouldn't be coming out of the blue. So this should be coming from your story outline, which was assignment 1, and assignment 2, your pitch deck, helped you really generate ideas and kind of start to get we should be able to get the sense of your story visually. A couple rules to follow when making a script. Keeping it simple. The biggest pitfall, I would say, of a lot of student scriptwriters or starting out scriptwriters is there's a lot of dialogue. And you really don't need that much dialogue. You need a show, don't tell. So keep it simple. Keep your locations and your characters to a minimum. Short and sweet. I always kind of think of short films as, if you think of the structure of a joke, there's the 1-2, and then there's the punchline. Horse walked into a bar. Says to the bartender, "I'll have a whiskey and Coke." Bartender says, "Why the long face?" Ba-boom. Horse. Bartender. Bar. Horse walks in, dialogue. Bartender, dialogue. And delivery. Payoff. Now, that wasn't the best joke in the world, but you get the idea. Remember to KISS, keep it simple, students. And, choose a unique concept. You don't want to have multiple complicated things happening. Just very, very simple. And the genre. Pick a genre. Stick to it. Don't try and cross, over into other genres. You have 10 minutes to tell a story. And that's really all you need. I mean, feature films are, 90 minutes plus. They're based on the same idea. They introduce us to a character or characters, set up the world, set up the goal of the character, the main character. So they want to get somewhere. And then in between here and there, they have obstacles, things that get in the way of that goal. So that's what that's the main pull, the main part of drama is the character going to succeed? And as a writer, you want to always set these obstacles for the character to overcome. Keep your short film short. And I'll say it again, keep your short film short. A 10-minute film, 10 pages script. The general rule is for every page of a script, it's a minute of film. So that's a minute of the final film. So that's if you have written 20 pages, for a script, cut it back. Cut it back. Just try and find stuff. If there's a scene in your film that doesn't help push you to that end goal, get rid of it. Yeah, if stuff is in there, if it doesn't help propel your story forward, get rid of it. Yeah, you don't need it. And then formatting. Formatting your script is very important. It's the way it might seem like a silly thing, but a script is a blueprint. So you don't want to, it's not a novel. It needs to be a fast read, not weighed down with flowy prose. So the reason writers are advised to stick to standard screenplay formatting principles is to keep the reader focused on your story and not distracted by improper script formatting, heavy dialogue, and lengthy descriptions. So it's a blueprint, really, that's it. You're describing everyone and everything, and that's it. You don't need to go into great detail about how somebody's feeling, and it's difficult because the way we're taught to write stories is more in like the form of like novels and short stories. Script writing is a lot more practical than that. It's more of these are the people in this world, this is what the world looks like, and this is what they're going to do. I keep using this production called The Tree. Pretty good. I really like it. They stuck to keeping it fairly short. I think the film is 12 minutes, maybe 14 minutes. I think we watched a little bit of it the other day. Whoa, hold on one sec. But they have their title on there, The Tree. It's version 8, so they did 7 other drafts before that. And that's normal. The first version is going to be kind of word vomit. You're going to be just getting this stuff out, typing it out. That's fine. If you watch the other video where I go over script software, I start to write a script, and you'll kind of see me do that. I'm just blah-blahing it out. And that's totally acceptable. That version nobody ever really sees. That's really just for you, the writer, to just get the stuff out. Now, this script, The Tree, version 8. Version 7 was probably a little more elaborate. And then they probably realized they couldn't get certain locations. They had to change maybe a pharmacy or a gas station location to outside of a bookstore. So that's probably what they did. Was version 7 had most of the direction and the action and the main characters. The main characters would have definitely been locked in. But things like locations and props and car crash. If what can that be instead? Is it 2 people jogging and they get into an accident instead of 2 people in a car? Does that still propel your story forward? So sometimes you'll find that's what's going to happen. You'll have to do a rewrite as you're going into the steps of pre-production, starting to get the actors. You may want a 20-year-old white female in the script. That's what it says. But instead you get a 30-year-old African-American female. It's okay, unless main parts of the story depend on that person looking like they do and they're the age that they are. If it doesn't matter, you got to ask yourself, does it really matter? Does it help the story? Does it push the story forward? Does it hold the story back? If not, You can adapt. That's filmmaking. You adapt. Yeah, they're formatting for this script. Exterior urban cityscape day. So urban cityscape. Great. They just found a street that probably looked good. With some city buildings. City buildings draw a stark outline against a featureless sky. Perfect. Okay. Easy. So you can see this is also, now you start to see how it's a blueprint. Like, we need to go find a featureless, an outline with city buildings and featureless sky. Okay, got it. That's where we're going to do scene 1. Write in your script, the first draft should be, exactly what's in your head. Just say it. So maybe for the scene 1, they could have had exterior downtown bank, outside the bank, or or an Apple store or a huge factory. But then, they probably realized they couldn't get that. They needed too many permits. But for the first draft, just write that. Do not get hung up on that stuff just yet. You'll have plenty of time to trim it down and edit that stuff in drafts 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And again, you should watch the video I did of the script writing software, because I kind of go into a little more detail about the process of writing a script. But script writing, this is, you want to be descriptive. Let's see if they did that here. When they got inside, describing an interior. They didn't do it too much here, but that's okay. So I'm going to pull up an example of a film you may have heard of recently called Joker. And as you can see, it says Joker: An Origin, written by Todd Phillips, Scott Silver. And 1st of December, final shooting script. So again, they probably had multiple versions before that. But this is the one that they used to shoot, or when they were filming. But then we start to get to the script, the real script. So you can see over black, right there, you hear laughter. Okay. The sound of a man totally cracking up. All right, that tells you a lot. Interior, Department of Health. And in that Department of Health, that building, we're actually going to be in an office in there. And it's the morning. So, interior and morning, to me, says a lot. If I'm doing lighting, I know that I have to bring lights along that can match the color temperature of daylight. And it's going to be inside. So we're going to have some indoor lighting. But the other good thing is, we're not going to have to deal with the sun. We will create our own sun. We will make light come through the window, and it could be morning for as long as they shoot, which could be 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours. Go home, come back. They could be doing this scene for 4 days, and it will all look like morning, the same time. Never changes. So that's really helpful. That's, again, an example of a blueprint. Next, we see close on Arthur. So this is a little interesting. Rarely do you put camera direction into a script. Sometimes if it's very specific, like this is, they want to let you know we're real tight. We're real close in on this character. You probably won't find much of that in the rest of the script, because that's what a shot list is for. A shot list would be, you go through and break down what the director wants to see. What are we going to shoot? What's the coverage of this? And then we have Arthur. First time you introduce a character, you capitalize it. So Arthur, and Arthur's in his 30s. And then they have a little description of what Arthur is doing. Tears in his eyes from laughing so hard. Okay. He's trying to get it under control. So that gives the actor a lot to work with. So it's not telling the actor what to do. That happens on set. That's going to be a conversation between the actor and the director. So you never write in how a character feels, and you want to stay away from, as much as you can, tell them how to react to scenes, to things happening. That's a gray area as well, but you really don't want to write in how they feel. That's bad writing for a script. This is an example of good writing. He's trying to get it under control. So that's how the actor will have talked to the director, how they're going to develop the character, And with that, and knowing the background of the character and having the character bios that you put in your pitch deck, the actor has a lot to work with. He would know, the actor would know, and the director would know how this character, Arthur, tries to get it under control. The next line, his greasy black hair hanging down over his forehead. That line's almost written for hair and makeup. That is a great description of the Arthur's character when it comes to hair and makeup. He's wearing an old faded green cardigan sweater, a threadbare gray scarf, thin from years of use, and it hangs loosely around his neck. That's also perfect for wardrobe, where they have a pretty good idea of how to dress this character. And it gives all of us a sense of who this character is. They don't wear high-end clothes, suits. They probably don't spend a lot of money. The term threadbare gray scarf, thin from years of use, vintage clothing, frugal. So, it's these words that are being used to describe all these elements, but they also tell a lot more. What I'll do is, a lot of the time writing scripts, I will write versions. First version, it's just out there. Second version is for me. I get some peer review, somebody to read it. They tell me whether I'm just an idiot. And then I start to the third draft is I have a good sense of who the character is, their world, and how they're going to get to the end. That's it. A to B, B to C. And I've got enough obstacles in there. I think it's going to be entertaining to some degree. And then the next draft, number 4, I'll maybe write it for wardrobe. Have I explained and described enough of how these characters are dressed and what does it say about them? I would know how they are dressed, hopefully, what they should wear, because I created the characters. I just know them, and I've got those character bios to go back to. Then I do another pass for art department. Have I described the chairs that they're sitting in, or the car that they like to drive, or their environment, their living room, their bedroom, their home in general, the bar that they like to go to. Then I'll write one for sound. Do we hear birds in the background? Is there a lack of audio? Has the audio been sucked out of the room? Is there a buzzing noise? Is that part of the subconscious or psychological attack I'm playing on the viewer? Each version, I have a tendency to focus on certain aspects a little more. So I'll kind of do a version with art department in mind, do a version with lighting, the cinematography, the lighting of it. And then I finally get to the shooting script, the final. But yeah, so it's a process. It's not going to be an easy one. But for your project, for this assignment, just I want the first 2 pages. So first 2 pages. Now the first 2 pages are the minimum. If you want to write all 10 pages and you're just on a roll, you're getting it out, great, go for it. I love that. Because also remember, we're going to pick only 2 scripts. I have final say. I'm the producer, so I will look at these scripts and say, these are both, these 2 are manageable. We can do these. We can make this happen in this class. And also I'm going to be judging by the pitch decks. I'm going to have all of you, we're all going to do a pitch deck, like assignment 2. I'm going to get feedback from the whole class. Whose do you like the best? Which one stood out? And we'll decide whether we make that anonymous or we just post discussions. You won't be able to vote for your own. So I'll take that into consideration, and how the pitch deck looks, and then how the script looks with it. So honestly, if the pitch deck's going to be the one that really gets me. And then the first 2 pages, I'll be able to tell a lot, whether you're on a good path, good starting point. Don't stress too much if the script isn't perfect. Like I said, first draft, just getting it out there. Try your best to get the formatting best you can. But the things that I wouldn't get too hung up on, the dialogue. They can just spout out some words. Unless the dialogue helps you gets the story along, which that's the only reason the dialogue should be there. Don't worry so much about perfecting the dialogue. Just get the main points in there. Try to get the locations in there. So locations and the characters. So your characters, keep it, manageable. Remember, we don't have a huge budget. So if you just have 2 to 3 characters, 2 main characters, or one main character with a couple supporting people, to get that character to their destination, that's good. I wouldn't stay away from, cast of 12. That's ridiculous. That's not going to happen. And then, just a couple locations. With that being said, don't get too hung up on, I'm not going to put that in there because I have no idea. I don't think that's even possible, so I'm not even going to write that in. Just get it in there. We'll figure it out. We can always adapt. We can always change. From 4 characters, we'll start to streamline it, and I'll give you feedback on that. Because filmmaking is an organic process. Things change. It's problem solving. Issues come up. We deal with them. That's just part of the process. That's about it. So, keep writing. Normally I don't condone alcohol, but writing scripts, you're at home, a glass of wine, sometimes it helps those creative juices flowing. I'm not telling anybody to drink alcohol, but this is how I like to write. So, cheers and stay healthy.